Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Prime Minister Modi is headed to Israel. But before that, big story. India has joined more than 100 countries and international organizations in condemning Israel's expansion in the West Bank. Israel's cabinet had approved the beginning of the land registration process in Area C of West Bank. It's the first time since Israel occupied the Palestinian territory in 1967. The Palestinian Authority called it de facto annexation of West Bank. On the 18th of February, a statement was issued on behalf of 85 states and a number of international organizations condemning Israel's unilateral measures that rejected annexation. India was not signatory to the initial statement, but later, India, along with 100 states and international organizations, joined the statement to condemn Israel's illegal annexation of West Bank. India's condemnation also comes at a time when Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a two-day visit to Israel from the 25th of February. Prime Minister Modi is likely to address the Israeli Parliament or the Knesset. This will be the second time Indian Prime Minister is visiting the country. His first visit to Israel was in the year 2017, the first ever visit by an Indian premier to the Jewish nation. The visit also comes amid US President Donald Trump's threat to attack Iran and a growing military presence of US military in the West Asian region. Israel has condemned Iran's uranium enrichment and called for the closure of all nuclear facilities. Israel, backed by the US, was in a 12-day war with Iran in June 2025, where it attacked 3 Iranian nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer. Ahead of the visit, Netanyahu called India a global power and Prime Minister Narendra Modi a personal friend. He also envisioned a hexagon of alliances in and around the region that will include India. Now that's...
This week, we expressed the special relationship that has developed over the past few years between Israel and global power India, and between me and its leader, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are personal friends. We speak frequently on the phone. We visit each other. I visited India. Modi visited here. In the vision that I see before my eyes, we will create a complete system. Essentially a kind of hexagon of alliances around or within the Middle East. This includes India, this includes the Arab countries, this also includes African countries, also countries in the Mediterranean, Greece and Cyprus, and also countries in Asia that I will not list right now. I will present it in an orderly manner.
Strategic Affairs expert Professor Brahma Chilani joins me for more on this. Brahma, you wrote about it. You said that the Indian government waited long enough for Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to India. That didn't happen. But Prime Minister Modi is now headed to Israel. Amid all the tensions and the West Bank annexations of territories, what's your reading of the visit itself?
Geeta, the visit is very important because the Israeli Prime Minister was supposed to come last year. 3 times he postponed his visit. The first 2 times because of domestic political turbulence in Israel. The 3rd time his office cited the Red Fort bomb in Delhi, even though the bomb explosion happened in November and he was supposed to come in December last year. But still, the fact that there has been an interruption in high-level visits between Israel and India prompted Modi then to decide to go to Israel. Of course, the timing is very odd because of the possibility of US military strikes on Iran. So he's going at a time when there is a military alert in Israel because any kind of US action against Iran is going to drag Israel into a wider regional conflict. So the timing may be odd, but I think the visit seeks to send a deliberate message that stability in the Middle East is critical to India's economic and energy interests, and that India will not be deterred by the current looming conflict between the US and Iran from seeking to renew its relationship with Israel.
But how do you also see this, Brahma, at a time when India remains engaged with Iran? There is a looming threat of an attack on Iran. Prime Minister Narendra Modi headed to Israel, and alongside comes a statement which criticizes and condemns the annexation plan of Israel of the Area C in the Palestinian territories.
It's a good question, Geeta. What India is trying to do is to maintain equilibrium in its Middle East policy. For example, on January 31st, just 4 weeks ago, India hosted Arab foreign ministers in New Delhi, and this signing on to the statement on the West Bank meshes with international law. International law recognizes the West Bank as occupied territory, and Israel's unilateral actions impinge on international law. And therefore, after careful consideration, the Indian Foreign Ministry agreed to sign on to that statement. And I think Modi's visit to Israel is part of this effort to maintain equilibrium. But I think we have to keep in mind that with Israel, India has very sensitive defense and technology projects underway. And Modi's trip to Israel is to ensure that these projects remain on track, because these projects are quite central to India's military security.
That's right. Brahma, I know you have a flight to catch, but before I let you go, this is really important. Regional volatility, how is India looking at it? Because should something happen in the Persian Gulf, it will not remain in the Persian Gulf. And it is not just close to home, it is home.
You're absolutely right, Geeta. First and foremost, the very fact that Modi is traveling to Israel at this point goes to show that US strikes on Iran are not imminent. They're not going to happen in the next 2-3 days, because Trump would have taken the Israeli prime minister in confidence. Modi wouldn't be going there without the Israeli leader saying, now it's okay to come. So I think we have to keep in mind that even though US carrier strike forces are in position to carry out punishing airstrikes on Iran, that such strikes are not going to happen in the next 2 or 3 days. But to answer your larger question, if there is a US operation against Iran, this will be much bigger than last summer's American bombing of 3 Iranian nuclear sites. And Iran has learned some lessons from the US air campaign of last June. And this time, despite being internally weak, Iran is going to try and hit back. And the question is whether it will be able to cause considerable damage to US military deployments in the region. Such damage that would deter the US from continuing punishing airstrikes on Iran. But it's apparent that given the fact that this American buildup in the Middle East is the largest since the 2003 Iraq war, and whenever the US has deployed such forces in large numbers anyway, strikes have happened. So the only question now is the timing, because on one hand, of course, we know that this buildup of forces is designed to force Iran's hand at the negotiating table, to force Iran to capitulate. But Iran is not a soft state. It has refused to capitulate, and it may not capitulate. And if it does not, and if the Trump administration is not happy with what Tehran is offering, strikes might still happen.
That's absolutely correct, Brahma. The fact that there are strikes that could be imminent should Iran not agree to the terms and conditions. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But more importantly, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has time and again reiterated this is not an era of war, whether it was Russia, Ukraine, or for that matter, the Gaza conflict. We'll have to wait and see what he says at the Knesset. Will he repeat the fact that this indeed is not an era of war? Brahma Chalani, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you go, but we'll stay on the story. A statement from U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, has enraged the Arab world with foreign ministries of multiple Middle East and Asian countries, along with several regional organizations, issuing a joint statement strongly condemning Huckabee's remarks regarding potential Israeli control over the entire Middle East. In an interview with Tucker Carlson, Huckabee endorsed the idea of Pax Judaica, or Greater Israel, that Israel has a biblical right to much of the Middle East, from Nile to Euphrates, essentially sweeping across Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and large swaths of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Soon after a statement was issued by the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Jordan, Indonesia, Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and many others, the secretaries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, that's OIC, and the Arab League of States also came out, including the GCC, with the condemnation regarding Huckabee's remarks. They categorically rejected what they described as dangerous and inflammatory remarks, saying such statements constitute a flagrant violation of international law and the Charter of the United Nations and pose a grave threat to regional security and stability. Now, shifting focus, violence has erupted in Mexico after the death of one of the world's most wanted drug lords. Mexican forces killed cartel kingpin Nemesio El Mencho, leader of the powerful Jalisco New Generation cartel. The group is blamed for massive fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. Here's a report.
After a Mexican military operation killed Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes, one of the world's most wanted traffickers, violence erupted in several parts of western Mexico. Oseguera was the cartel leader of the Jalisco New Generation. Mexico's Ministry of Defense, in a statement on X, said that during the operation in western Jalisco, Oseguera, also known as El Mencho, was wounded and died while being flown to Mexico City. Earlier, there was speculation of America's involvement in the operation, and the White House later confirmed that the US did indeed provide intelligence support for it. The cartel trafficked huge quantities of fentanyl and other drugs to the US from Jalisco. As the violence spread, the US Embassy and consulates in Mexico issued directives to US citizens to take shelter until further notice. US Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau has also confirmed cartel's death, describing him as one of the bloodiest and most ruthless drug kingpins.
El objetivo principal durante esta jornada ha sido...
The main objective during this day has been to safeguard the safety of the people. That is why from early on, from this security table, which is in permanent session, we activated the Red Code, which continues until moment to coordinate the work of all the security corporations.
El trabajo de todas las corporaciones de seguridad.
The violence spread rapidly, with buses and businesses being torched allegedly by suspected gang members. Videos have been captured of stampedes as passengers panicked at the Guadalajara International Airport.
Pues mira, ahorita toda la gente estamos asustados.
Look, now we are scared. We only go out when it's necessary because people don't know whether to go out or what to do. We have the peace of mind of not being so close to them. It is good that they are finishing with all these organizations, but there's fear because of these situations that are happening now. You don't know how to react or what to do at these moments.
Oseguera, once a police officer, became one of the most feared Mexican drug lords and the most wanted, with the United States offering a $15 million bounty for information leading to his arrest. After the killing, the FIFA World Cup host city of Guadalajara has been rocked by a wave of violence. The city is scheduled to host 4 games at the Estadio Akron during the 2026 FIFA World Cup this June. Co-host Mexico, European champion Spain, and South American sides Uruguay and Colombia are all set to play in Mexico's second largest city. Another video showed plumes of smoke covering Mexico's Puerto Vallarta, a resort city in the state of Jalisco. Following the fall of Venezuela, Trump has been constantly pressuring Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum to take action against the drug cartels. He had earlier suggested that the US could expand its military campaign against the Mexican drug cartels in case the national government did not. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, a crowd of protesters chanted, "We'll fight, we'll die, we'll reclaim Iran" at Al-Zahra University as they marked the 42nd day of mourning for those killed in recent protests. In recent videos, scuffles were seen as groups of students at several universities in Iran staged anti-government protests. Opposing groups were seen chanting pro and anti-government chants while pushing each other. The protests happen also as US and Iran get ready for next round of meeting in Geneva on Thursday. The talks are being mediated by Omani Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi. Oman previously hosted the indirect talks on the Islamic Republic's nuclear program and facilitated the latest round in Geneva last week. Iran's state news agency said students protested at 5 universities in the capital and 1 in the city of Mashhad. Many Iranians have held ceremonies marking the traditional 40-day mourning period in the past week. During the 1979 Islamic Revolution that toppled the Shah and brought the Islamic Republic to power, 40-day memorials for slain protesters often turned into rallies that security forces tried to crush, causing new deaths. Those were then marked 40 days later with new protests. The events unfold as the Pentagon sends the largest force of American warships and aircraft to the Middle East in decades, including 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, as President Donald Trump warns of possible military action against Iran if talks over its nuclear program fall apart. Well, let's now take a look at some other stories from across the world in World at a Glance.
China has urged the United States to lift its unilateral tariffs on trading partners. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce said China has noticed the US Supreme Court's ruling against the US government's tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act and is conducting a comprehensive assessment of its relevant content and impact. The US Supreme Court ruled on Friday that the US government's imposition of tariffs on trading partners under the IEEPA is illegal. China has always opposed all forms of unilateral tariff increase measures, repeatedly stressing that the trade wars produce no winners. According to Canadian media reports, ahead of Prime Minister Mark Carney's visit to India next month, Canada has moved to revoke the citizenship of the Habur Rana, the Pakistani Canadian accused of playing a key role in the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. Carney's visit is seen to restore the India-Canada relationship, which has been greatly affected under its predecessor, Justin Trudeau. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was pivotal in the murder of thousands of people during his rule, prosecutors at the International Criminal Court said as they pushed for his trial to go ahead. The prosecutors at the Hague-based War Crimes Court have charged Duterte with 3 counts of murder as a crime against humanity, involving dozens of victims that accusers say were only a fraction of the real death toll in his clampdown on alleged drug users and criminals. North Korea's ruling Workers' Party re-elected leader Kim Jong-un as General Secretary at the 4th day of its party Congress meetings. In a laudatory report, it credited Kim for raising the prestige of the country, creating an international environment favorable to its revolutionary struggle, and strengthening the country's military into an elite and powerful army. New York City's iconic Times Square was covered in snow as a major snowstorm swept through the northeastern United States, bringing heavy snowfall and icy conditions. New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts governors issued state of emergency orders and a halt to non-essential travel on Sunday, February 22nd, as this storm was expected to bring up to 24 inches of snow and strong winds to the region.
News just coming in, a major air tragedy in Jharkhand's Chhatra district is being reported. This is a major air tragedy. This is an air ambulance we're talking about has crashed in Jharkhand. According to reports, the air ambulance had taken off from Ranchi and was en route to Delhi. It includes the patient who was on board, was being taken from Jharkhand to Delhi for treatment. What we are given to understand as per reports is that 7 persons were on board the air ambulance, a patient, a doctor, a paramedic, 2 attendants, a PIC and a co-pilot. They were all on board. That's just the initial reports that are coming in. We are given to understand that this was a chartered air ambulance en route from Ranchi to Delhi, and the radar contact went missing, with the aircraft having lost touch with the radar control room after takeoff from Jharkhand's Birsa Munda airport. Those are reports that are just coming in, and we are given to understand that the aircraft has crashed. This is an air ambulance. We've seen recent incidents of air crashes, but rarely an air ambulance that has met with a massive tragedy over here. We do not have details on what has happened on the ground. Those are visuals, the first visuals that are coming from Chhatra in Jharkhand, where the air crash has taken place. It's an air ambulance that was carrying a patient along with a doctor, a paramedic, an attendant, co-pilot and the pilot. Those are details that are just coming in. Amit Bharadwaj joins me for more on this on the phone line. Amit, a major tragedy yet again. This time it's an air ambulance, and it does seem like the patient was on board with the doctor, the paramedics, the attendant, as also the pilot and co-pilot, and it has crashed. It was en route to Delhi.
Right, Geeta. The initial information that we have at this point in time, which we can confirm to our viewers as well, is that this was an air ambulance which was en route to the national capital, has taken off from Ranchi, and this included, individuals, the patient, 1 doctor, 2 paramedics, 2 attendants. So in total, 7 people are believed to be on that craft, and the initial information also suggests that this was being operated by Redbird Airways Private Limited. So the aircraft, a mini aircraft, which was being used as air ambulance, was being run by Redbird Airways Private Limited. More information is awaited in this particular regard as to why the crash has happened, whether there was, whether the craft went off the radar, what was the last signal or message that was given by the pilot, by the crew on board. All of that detail is awaited at this point in time. The DGCA is trying to collect the initial information from the local sources as well. But certainly the local administration has confirmed the crash, and that 7 people were on board as far as, passengers are concerned, including the patient, doctor, 2 paramedics, 2 attendants from the family, 1 pilot and 1 co-pilot as well. So more details are awaited in this regard, but this we can certainly tell our viewers at this point in time. This particular air ambulance, a charter craft had left from Ranchi, was en route to Delhi and crashed in Jharkhand itself. More details are awaited in as far as the technical information are concerned. Back to you.
Right, Amit. These are just initial details that are coming. Thank you so much for all the details that you've shared. Keep tracking the story. We'll come back to you as and when we get more details and inform our viewers. For now, those are the reports that are coming in. An air ambulance has crashed in Chhatra in Jharkhand, and it was en route to Delhi with the patient, doctor, attendant, paramedic and the pilots all on board. Details on the situation on the ground and casualties not known yet. Reports coming in that the aircraft had lost radar contact. That brings me to the close of this show, but news and updates will continue on the other side, and we'll keep tracking this story as well. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and take care.